The Backrooms. A thing that has been a thing since 2019. Spawning as a 4chan post originally, before turning into an internet sensation. I have been a fan of the Backrooms for a long time now, and especially Backrooms games. When they are done right, they are some of my favorite games of all time. For a while, the complex was on top. But then, a Backrooms game emerged from the pond. A glistening beam of potential. A shining light in the darkness, one would say. An unprecedented... You already know which game I'm talking about, it's in the goddamn title. I don't know if you know this by now, but I really like Backroom games, in case you couldn't tell from my channel. I think they are fantastic when they are executed to their fullest, with games like The Complex and Pools being some of my favorites. But I can't really say I'm in love with the genre as a whole. There are some real stinkers in the multiplayer genre and the walking simulator genre. When making a game like this, you need to account for many things. You don't want to make it too mazy, that just frustrates the player. You don't want to make it too long, then you just bore the player. And you want to make sure you have a great atmosphere built into the game. That's the whole purpose of making it scary and worthwhile. For the longest time, these three were the only ones that I can say nailed it. And it didn't seem like there was going to be another, until this game rolled around. The Backrooms Lost Tape was a game that I was very excited to play. I heard many good things about it and was ready to dig into it. I played the game, and oh boy, is this a can of worms. It took me a while to get my true opinion on this game. I wasn't sure how to feel about it when I first played it. But a few months have passed, and I think I've gotten a concrete opinion on this game. And that's why we're here. The Backrooms Lost Tape is a game that I think has some insane missed potential. It is incredibly close to perfection, but there are so many flaws and moments of it that bring it down significantly. And that is why I'm making this video, so that I can get my thoughts and critiques out. And also because this game technically isn't finished yet. Currently it has 2 chapters, the menu has 5 tabs, so you can only assume there will be 5 chapters by the time it's finished. So because of that, I think a video like this is very important for the future of this game. The person who made it, Vinny Cortez, clearly has some insane talent, and I hope that he can make future chapters the best games that they can possibly be. But until then, we only have the 2 to critique and look at. We're going to be talking about every nook and cranny of these chapters as humanly possible. I'm going to be analyzing them to my best efforts, giving the positives, the negatives, and then laying down some future improvements that I think would benefit the game. Notice how I said I. At the end of the day, this is just my opinion. Or, if you want, I could just make a whole video on why the game sucks with no constructive criticism. I mean, who would do such a thing, right? Anyways, I've blabbered for long enough. Without further ado, let's dive into the first chapter. Before we get into the first chapter, I'm gonna dig into its development just a little bit. In February 2022, the first teaser for the game would drop. It was just a 10-second snippet of a chase scene, nothing really too exciting. Over the next few months, however, Vinny Cortez would continue teasing the game, just a few little teasers here and there, but nothing crazy once again. And then on December 24th, 2022, the full chapter would drop. Now, despite my mixed feelings on this game, I think Chapter 1 is actually quite solid. There are a ton of things that it does right, even if it isn't perfect, but it sets an amazing foundation for this game, down to its environments and horror. Before we get into the meat and bones, I'm going to talk about the format a little bit, on how I'm going to be covering these chapters. I'm first going to talk about the story and the levels, then the positives, and then the critiques. It's going to be a lot more structured than my Freddy's Reanimated video, for example. That makes sense, right? Well, it better, because that's how I'm going to be talking about these games, so You just gotta deal with it. Without further ado, let's get into this. We start off with an opening cutscene. Someone named Josh is filming a theater to show his boss how good of a job the cleaning crew did. Not Josh, the cleaning crew. Josh just ate a sandwich and watched them do it. We call that plagiarism around here, you know? Anyways, this is a Backrooms game, so some diabolical shenanigans need to happen so we can get there. The lights go out and the TV displays a very friendly message. You know, clips through the floor, and here we are, the damn rooms, yet again. We find some notes scattered around giving us parts of a peculiar code, and God knows what that means. As we explore around, we find some interesting areas. A hotel-looking area, a mushroom-infested room, and then coming across this strange-looking place. We find a computer telling us to input a code. When we input the code, this happens. Hey, this is the wrong game, bud. Creepy produce is that way. Now we have inputted the code, it's time to run. Hello, Mr. Bacteria. After a bit of running, we find our way in a pool room-like area, and this mannequin. Send him off the fucking field, ref. After traversing a bit more, we discover an elevator and end up in Hold W level 2. I meant level 2. After 2 minutes of walking, we find another elevator, getting transported to the real pool rooms, not the fake ones that we saw before. Except in this pool rooms, there's no roof. Look at that sky. God damn, that's majestic. After walking through, we find, yep, surprise, you guessed it, another elevator. God damn it, there's a lot of these, aren't there? Going through it, we find ourselves in another level 0 adjacent environments. Creepy. Well, at least nothing is chasing us, right? Oh. Anyways, we took a relaxing stroll upstairs and ignored the horrendous noise, and there's another elevator. What the fuck? Now we're in a big-ass field, and to open this elevator, we need to walk on the ominous red lights of doom. Well, guess a theater employee isn't our only job. We're also a magician. After doing that, the elevator decides we qualify to enter, and it takes us to another place. And would you look at that, it's the one liminal space image. I know what that is. Except we are stranded on an island instead. Very cool. At least we got some time to relax. Ah, spoke too soon. Thankfully, the owners of this one house put up some lights. How convenient. Now we exit our last elevator. The point of no return. The scariest thing ever conceived by mankind. Is that the Smile tapes?
Away from any person suspected to be under its influence. For the past 2 months, we have received over 500 deaths related to the drug. The drug itself has not been scientifically investigated.
Anyways, we traverse through the corridors, the environment's getting progressively more eerie and party-like. I don't like where this is going. We go up a slide, making it to the other side of the room. And that doesn't seem to be a good sign. We push through nonetheless. The corridor is getting more and more distorted. Until we reach the room. I know what this is. Well, I sure hope this doesn't end badly, right? I'm foreshadowing. Of course, it's going to end badly. We come face to face with a partygoer, and due to its sheer aura, we know clip through the floor. Either at a McDonald's or heaven. McDonald's heaven. Delicious. And that's the story and levels the game, I guess. This section is so stupid. Anyways, let's make ourselves over to the analysis room and unpack this whole thing, shall we? Well, this isn't quite a room, but it'll work, I guess. Anyways, let's go through the things that Chapter 1 does right. And the first thing that immediately comes to my mind is the atmosphere, down to the visuals and sound design. I would say it nails it more than Pools does, and in some cases, it's nearly as strong as the Complex games, specifically the last section. Everything about it is just perfect. The quiet atmosphere that puts you on edge, the plain environment creating that sense of unease, the way it slowly ramps up in tension as the imagery gets more distorted, the hints that something may be following you all throughout, yada yada yada. It's an utter masterclass in how to design these types of games. And while it's definitely the highlight of the game, it doesn't mean the other sections are bad. The pool room section is a nice interlude between the more scary sections, just being pure vibes maxing, you love to see it. The level 94 section is a good spin on the concept, and the parts where the lights go out is very tense. The house section builds a really good atmosphere. More on that one later. And most of the other levels are pretty solid, for the most part at least. And that's another thing I'm going to praise as well, the composition. All of the levels flow together very well and differentiate enough to where they all feel fresh. And granted you aren't an idiot, the game is paced pretty well. It's a relatively short experience, took me almost an hour to beat, but the average is about 45 minutes. And for what it delivers, it's an incredibly effective experience. But the best thing about Chapter 1, the thing that makes it so good, is that it doesn't try to be more than it is. It doesn't try to take major swings in the game design department because it doesn't need to. It could just deliver on a horrifying experience. This is something that I think Chapter 2 stumbles on, but we will get to that later, trust me. And a few more things to add, Chapter 1 also has some really good jump scares. This mannequin jump scare in particular is some diabolical shit. And also the fact that the entirety of the Smile Tapes episode is just hanging out in one of the levels is just really funny to me. Plus, I really dig the SCP and Backrooms fusion. It's not super present in this chapter, but the little bits that we do get are pretty cool. And it makes a lot of sense for these two universes to be connected, but I don't really want to get into a debate about that. They get really heated about this stuff. And also, it's not like this is the only Backrooms game to do this either. I mean, Backrooms Lost and Found also did this concept pretty damn well. Maybe I should talk about Lost and Found one day. Alright, now it's critique time. Now I have waxed lyrical about Chapter 1 so far, but it isn't perfect. Far from it. There are some flaws about this game that don't make it up there with the complex or pools. And the absolute biggest flaw with this game is that it is too short. Now I did say that the pacing of the game is good, and it is. I think decently short experiences are the way to go with games like these. But you need to find a mix between the two, where you make the game tightly paced, while not letting that affect the levels in your game. The complex found footage is a short game, but every section is lived out to its fullest. You feel full after that game, you don't feel like any section was wasted. With Lost Tape Chapter 1, I'm only about 70% full. That's because some of these levels are just way too damn short. The biggest crime to this is easily the house section. I praise it for its atmosphere, but that's also what makes it such a huge negative too, because you spend maybe 2 minutes in this section and then you move on. This section could have been so much better, expand it and make it maybe 8 or 10 minutes and you have a massive standout. And even the field one could have been expanded more, it just feels like an interlude when it has potential to be so much more. Part of the reason the final section is so effective is because of how much time we spend there and the way it builds its tension. These two levels just feel like a bit of wasted potential. But what isn't wasted potential is level 2. Out of all of the levels in the Backrooms, this is easily one of, if not the worst to adapt. Seriously, I do not understand it. The whole point of level 2 is that it's a straight line. Why would I want to hold W and Shift for 2 goddamn minutes? Why do so many Backrooms games add this fucking level? Why is it everywhere? I'm sure there's something cool you could do with it, but this game just plays it to the books. There is not even anything chasing you, at least for my playtime. It's the only level in this chapter that I would call bad, and it's made especially worse because Vinny Cortez is a fantastic artist. He's been able to take Backrooms levels and imagine them to his own vision. I'm just baffled why he didn't decide to do it with level 2 when this is the one that would need it the most. It's not fun, it's not tense, it's just boring, and it's especially worse on repeat playthroughs. Seriously. Stop adding this level to these games. My criticisms don't quite stop there though, because Chapter 1 makes one really big mistake. Level 0 has a puzzle. It's the only level in the game that has some sort of gameplay elements, but the issue with it is that it's a fetch quest. You're not told what this code is for, there's nothing to document the numbers you found, you just kind of wander around until you find a piece of it and write it down in a notes tab because the game doesn't bother. Why can't the game mark it on the side anyway? That would just make it much more practical, would it not? The idea isn't bad, but I feel it's a poor way to try to include gameplay in a Backrooms game. The level as a whole isn't horrible, it could have ended much worse. foreshadowing, but it does leave a bad impression, because if the first level is like this, then the rest of the game better not be. I'm not against trying to do gameplay for a Backrooms game, just gonna clarify that. Sometimes it helps aid in the game, like dream logic. But this isn't the way to go about it. It just becomes tedious and frustrating. It's still a decent level, just flawed in ways the other levels aren't. I have a few other small criticisms, but they aren't as big as the ones that I've mentioned. The animations aren't the greatest. The bacteria especially just looks really goofy. But animation is hard, so I could excuse it a little, and it does get better later down the line. And the game's ending is a little confusing. I wish it was more conclusive, instead of us just randomly no-clipping through the floor and the game just ending like that. But this game isn't really focusing on narrative or story, so I can kind of see it. Not a huge deal. Alright, I think that's all the negatives. Let's grab a ribbon and wrap up Chapter 1, so we can get to the real meat and bones, which is Chapter 2. So overall, I would say that Chapter 1 is solid. It has a lot of shortcomings, we've already gone over them, but the highs are very high, and the experience is overall pretty great. The game has amazing environments, great atmosphere, and varied levels and set pieces. It delivers on a horror experience, going toe-to-toe with the best of the genre, all while having a relatively short runtime. It has all of the pieces to be a great game. Just a shame that some of it feels underbaked. I would give it a 7 out of 10 if I had to rate it. If some of the levels were more expanded and they just fucking deleted level 2, plus tweaking level 0, then this would be a fantastic game. But for an introduction to the game and for what it is, it's pretty damn good. Maybe in the future, Vinny Cortez will make a remastered version that expands it, but one can cope, that's probably never gonna happen. So as you can see, my overall opinions on Chapter 1 are quite positive. But that is not the reason as to why this video is being made. If you're looking at the runtime, then likely you know what a good chunk of this video is going to be about. It's time to open the can of worms that is Chapter 2. Let's get into it, because we have a lot to cover with this one. Oh boy, do I have some thoughts on Chapter 2. It was first teased in October 2023 with this audio poem, basically just a way to tell us that the chapter's in development. And then in April 2024, we got another teaser, telling us the name of the chapter and showing off whatever this is. But in June 2024, we got a full gameplay trailer, with a release date of August 8th. Everything about this chapter looked bigger and better, judging from the trailers. But in spite of the quality shown by the trailers, Chapter 2 ended up being incredibly flawed for me. And it's really disappointing that I'm saying that, because this is definitely a higher quality game than Chapter 1 was, and it does have some really good set pieces and segments. But Chapter 2 is plagued with so many issues, so many reoccurring issues, and all those just stop it from being good. Things that just make the game really unfun and woefully unreplayable. And it all stems from one issue, the game trying to outdo itself in one specific aspect. And I will explain what I mean when we talk about its flaws, because I will go more in depth when we get there. But just know that we are in for a ride, as you can tell from the runtime. So let's get into its story and levels. And unlike Chapter 1, there is a lot more story to dig into. So we start off with Nicholas, volunteering to enter the Backrooms, per order of the SCP Foundation, which you will see a lot of in this chapter. Also, voice acting.
Today, I voluntarily commit to entering the Backrooms under the auspices of the SCP Foundation.
His mission is to go and search for his brother, Josh, from the first chapter, and that he's aware a return isn't guaranteed. Guess you could say they have a brothership. He goes on a little more about how aware he is about the dangers and stuff, blah blah blah, before we cut into a fully animated cutscene. That budget sure went up. It displays Nicholas preparing for his mission, all while some sick-ass music plays. And it shows this little contraption, where he will presumably go through. We get to walk there, in fact. Nice. A woman tells us some more information before we head out. Now that we're ready, we teleport to the damn rooms again. The woman talking to us, Jennifer, tells us to be careful, and also to avoid chairs for some reason. We're greeted by some arrows. I wonder where those go. Oh. I don't know if it's explained or not, but SCP-173 just kind of chills here. But why? How did he end up in the Backrooms? Wouldn't he be at the facility? Did they transport him here? I'll just assume so. Anyways, we need to find a code in the 600 million mile rooms. We find some interesting environments on our way, but anyhow, we get the code and input it in, finding ourselves in the generator room. This will save trillions of dollars, I'm sure. Except it doesn't, because now we have released SCP-173. And it's dark. Shit. After some evasive maneuvers, we find a slide and descend further down, and we are greeted with this beauty. Easily the best looking area in the game. After traversing its environments, we find another slide. Might as well go down it. We find ourselves in a supermarket-like area, with some nice tunes playing. Very neat. Until it isn't, because this is the Backrooms. And when we press the buttons, the lights go out. No more tunes. I killed them. Now we need to find the correct code, which is one of the prices on one of these products. Awesome. After some minutes, we get the code and input it in, finding ourselves in this upstairs area. Going through the door, we're transported to a hotel. An evil hotel. We walk through the hallway, some ominous music playing as we step forward. We're met with stairs, going down them very patiently and slowly, completely and utterly peaceful. Wait, was that painting always like that? Oh, that's fucking diabolical. Naturally, once we're given our sprint back, we make a beeline towards the nearest door. Well, glad that nightmare is over. Oh my. We're transported to another area, which is literally called Heaven. I mean, it lives up to the name, that's for sure. We have to unscrew some valves to open a passage at the end of the corridors. Once we do that, we head down the stairs and into a door. Welcome to the emo pool rooms. We traverse through the area and Nicholas is getting increasingly stressed, so we call Jennifer for some directions. She tells us that we need to jump into the deepest pool imaginable to escape. You see, Nicholas has a phobia when it comes to pools, because when he was 7 years old, he slipped one day and the pool totally consumed him. Yes, I made that up, that's not part of the story. Or maybe it is, I'm not sure. Anyways, we find the deepest pool there is and swim down, slowly making our way into the next set piece. Said set piece is your worst nightmare. School. We go to a board. It has a message from Josh. He says that he knows we're looking for him and we need to find the janitor's closet, which will activate a countdown. And then we need to find a yellow crystal, which will teleport us or something. What the fuck is happening? Also, how the hell did Josh lead these... Whatever. We find the janitor's closet and tell Jennifer what we learned. And she tells us that whatever we're gonna do is gonna make us high and shit. Or nauseous. We can go with that, I guess. We turn on the computer and the lights are cut. Now we need to go and find that crystal. After a bit, we find the crystal and return it to its thingy-based gizmo. This causes us to have a very pleasurable LSD trip. When we wake up, we're greeted by nature. Disgusting. Jennifer calls us and apparently we lost contact with them for a week. God damn, them edibles were the shit. Now we're in a maze, and also there are ghosts. Cool. Anyways, we need to find 4 cubes and put them on this statue block for Minecraft? I don't know, whatever. Once we put the cubes in their place, the cube does an epic backflip and teleports us to an endless fucking ocean. Thanks a lot. Naturally, because of his intense fear of water, Nicholas phones Jennifer immediately, and apparently they can't see his location now. Turns out Nicholas is stuck here. I mean, it's an infinite ocean. Where would an exit be? Jennifer tells him to just sit tight and help is coming, because apparently they can just do that? Well, they better hurry up, because according to Jennifer, something is following Nicholas. Nicholas keeps on doom posting while Jennifer sweats behind the walkie-talkie. Then, out of fucking nowhere, a spaceship appears to save us, I presume. Is this our team? Whatever the case, we walk towards it and... Wait, what? Just like that? Wait, who the hell is this guy? Why are we rolling credits? Please don't fade into black. It faded into black. Well, I can only assume that Nicholas was saved and had a nice macaroni dinner with whoever the hell that was. So that was the game. We have a lot to talk about, as you can see. So let's dive in. Just like how Nicholas dived into that pool when he was young. Alright, let's start off with some good stuff. There is some quality here after all. Starting off with the improvements, I mean, you can just tell the production quality went up significantly. Now we have voice acting, better animation, more music, and bigger and more detailed environments. Is the voice acting and animation the greatest? No, but it's a good step in the right direction. It shows that he's willing to evolve past what was established in Chapter 1. I also like the fact that there's an actual story this time. Once again, it's not cinema, we'll get to that, but I'm glad that the game took this direction. For the most part, it's pretty solid. I like the fact that he plays the brother of Josh from the first tape. It's a nice place to set the story. I still have my issues with it, and we'll get to that, but I don't think it's awful. And once again, I'm going to praise the atmosphere and environment. You probably already expected this. Specifically the hotel section, which, bar for bar, I think is my favorite section in the entire game. The creepy music, the banging sound effects, the striking visuals, and that damn stair sequence is terrifying. The way it slowly deforms, and the payoff, combined with the fact that you can't sprint immediately, my goodness, it is so good. And you're still not in any danger, nothing chaws you, but the game gaslights you into thinking that. Once you get back your sprint, most players will just book it out of there, even in the spite of the fact that nothing is chasing them. Masterful stuff. I love horror like this. And the other levels have some neat visuals too, like the neon pool rooms, or the heaven level, or the grass corridors, just so many amazing looking set pieces. And other areas like the school and supermarket have some good aesthetics and decent atmosphere, like basically just every area in this game, if I'm being honest. In terms of areas, there is a ton of quality. You can tell that Vinny Cortez has a knack for environmental design. There is a fair bit good about this chapter, as you can see. I think I had a few more positives. The composition is really good. All the levels feel unique and different in their own way, like the first chapter. The music is really good. I especially like the intro. The SCP stuff we get is pretty neat, and I'm glad they dug a little deeper into it. And yeah, that's about it. Now we are getting into the major flaws and mistakes that Chapter 2 does. There are a lot. And the biggest problem about this game is one that I've neglected to talk about for a bit, but now we're going to address the big issue. As I've said before, this game improved everything from Chapter 1. Better visuals, voice acting, and better animation. All of this is good, but the game also tries to evolve its gameplay. Chapter 1 was a 90% walking simulator, and all the walking simulator stuff was pretty damn good. The other 10% was the level 0 puzzle, which to me is one of the weak points of that chapter. Chapter 2 is basically that puzzle if it was the entire game. About 70% of the levels use it, and the execution is extremely flawed. The biggest offender of this is, funnily enough, level 0, the opening level. It makes the same mistakes that the level 0 from Chapter 1 does, but adds even more to the pile. The area is bigger, making it more tedious to find the numbers. The environments aren't as interesting as Chapter 1. We get rows of computers and a tree, and I guess this is kind of cool, but when you compare that to this, yeah, you see the point, I assume. And also, even in the second fucking chapter, the game still doesn't document the code or tell you the correct order. Why? This just makes it more tedious. Which, by the way, you're going to be looking for these numbers for a good while. It makes replay playthroughs a slog. And unlike Chapter 1, this is most of the game. This supermarket section has the same problem, albeit to a lesser extent since it's a much smaller area, but it still has that tedium to it. You're just walking around trying to find a code that works, which by the way, the game still doesn't write it down for you. And it especially sucks because the atmosphere in this section is quite solid, but it's brought down by the fact that you're just waddling around finding this damn code. This section as a whole is just meh. And look, I love the visuals of Heaven, okay? It's one of the best looking areas in the game. But on a gameplay front, it's really not that exciting either. You're just walking around these long corridors, turning valves to open an area that's all the way at the edge of the map. It looks beautiful, but that quickly wears off once you realize this is all you're doing. And once again, it makes this chapter a slog on replays. And even in the school section, it still has the same problem. At the very least, you're only looking for one item, but it's still a drag to get through. You're once again just waddling around an area to find an object. And this maze level is the single worst level in this entire fucking game. Chapter 1 and 2 included. It's very cramped, making your directions very disoriented. It's a complete maze, and you'll likely be going through circles half the time. And you need to find 4 objects scattered all over this maze. This is horrible game design, I can't say it any other way. There's no fun in wandering around for minutes on minutes trying to find some dumbass cubes. It is horrible, and it's even worse on replays. I think you could get the problem I'm showing with all these sections. They aren't replayable, and it's down to the fetch quest formula. This formula just doesn't work with Backrooms games. They are exploration games first and foremost, and maybe you can make fetch quests fun, but this game does not implement them well in the slightest. Most gamers that I have talked to despise fetch quests, and trying to do those in a massive maze? Fuck that! This is the one time where a map would have been useful. Getting lost is part of the charm of the Backrooms game, I know, but when you're trying to look for an object to proceed, it just turns to frustration. Everything that isn't puzzle related is mostly good too. The neon pool room section is good, mostly because of the visuals. The hotel section, as we've talked about before, is fantastic, but they only take up 20% of the game at most. The dark pool rooms area is alright, but you only stand there for a few minutes. What if we expanded this and made it exploration based? This is an awesome setting. Like, the dark pool rooms in general is such an underused setting, and they just don't do anything with it. This is just for the one set piece where you jumped on the pool. I just don't get it. But wait, there's more. We need to talk about the story. Is it nice that this game has a story? Yes, but my goodness does it have some flaws. The biggest one being that they just don't really dive into it deep enough. Nicholas is literally searching for his brother, but sometimes it just doesn't feel like he's showing enough emotion. I also feel that he should be a little more scared of his situation. His brother is lost here, and he's about to meet that same fate. Why isn't he terrified? Why does he just accept he's gonna die without any fear? Post-editing Vortex here, currently editing this section of the video, and I just realized that I should probably show examples of what I mean when I say he doesn't show enough emotion. So I made this little compilation of examples just to show you what I mean. Enjoy.
Nicholas, are you listening?
Yes.
I've just been told that SCP-173 was in containment in the Backrooms. With you turning off all the power to the place, he's been released too. Be very careful. He only moves when you're not looking at him.
Oh, shit. That's a problem. In the dark, it'll be even worse. Thanks for the warning, Jennifer. I'll be careful.
Nicholas, are you okay?
For now, yes. I've just passed a water park, but no Josh yet. No clues. I went down a slide and ended up inside a supermarket. Although after using a dimensional elevator, I don't think anything impresses me anymore. Hello, Jennifer? I'm in an underground swimming pool room and there's no way out.
Right, an underground pool. Nicholas, what I'm about to say is going to sound crazy, but you need to jump into the deepest pool there is.
What? What do you mean?
Yes. There's a legend about this place that says that only the bravest have made it out alive, and the greatest possible act of courage in this place would be to dive into the deepest pool to find a possible exit at the end of it.
The deepest pool here is terrifying. I don't know if I can.
You can do it, Nicholas. You've been through worse.
I managed to get into the janitor's room, which Josh mentioned in a letter I found here from him. I'm in it now. There's some kind of system here. I just need to figure out how to connect it all.
Janitor's office? Where are you? I'm glad you found a clue about Josh. What does the letter say?
Hello?
Nicholas, what happened? You lost contact with you for a week.
What do you mean? I just woke up after using the crystal at school. The place I'm in is so beautiful that it's like I've died.
Let's hope not. What a fright you've given us now. Well,
I don't think so, Jen. I think that's the end of me.
it's not over yet, Nicholas. Keep an eye out for anything in the sky.
Okay, that's fine.
He knew of the dangers beforehand, yes, but that doesn't mean he was absolved of feeling any emotion at all. I feel like he should have delved into the emotional side more when it comes to his brother. Oh, and speaking of his brother, I beg to ask the question on how the fuck he posted this note on the wall. How did he write this? How did he know Nicholas was looking for him? How did he know that this crystal can help you escape? How? This is never explained. Is Josh alive or dead? Because judging by the ending of the first chapter, he looked dead as fuck. How did he live? How did he get here? None of those are answered. Like, I get it, okay? This chapter is about Nicholas, okay? We're not trying to put much focus on Josh, but if you're gonna have a note like this, you need some explaining to do. The other notes, like the one in the supermarket that tells you need to find the price, that one's fine because that is a gameplay element. This note is written by Josh. This is part of the story. How is he alive? Is he still alive? What? None of it makes sense. Jesus Christ, I need to calm down. And also, another confusing point. The ending. The first question is, what the fuck is this ship? Is this the SCP Foundation or something else? And who is this? Is this also someone from the SCP or something else? And the most important question, what the hell happened to Nicholas? We're still alive when the cutscene starts. All we see is the guy coming out the ship. And Nicholas didn't, so I guess he died? Or is he alive? Is this a damn cliffhanger? It feels so inconclusive. Like this was the last part of the game made, and the second part is coming out later. It's so strange. It gives us zero answers, and frankly zero questions because we have no idea what's going on, so what questions do we ask? And then it just fades into black. What? Yeah, this could have used more time in the oven. Also, this is something that I didn't mention in Chapter 1, but I'll mention it here since we're at Chapter 2. The UI needs some serious work, man. Specifically these notes. It's just text on our screen. Why can't there just be a note in front of us that displays the text? Or why can't it just be sorted in an inventory or some sorts? Why? Also, the same goes for this main menu. Not gonna hog on it too hard, but by the second chapter, you seriously need to polish all this stuff up. Alright, I think I've talked about everything now. Let's wrap up this chapter and the game as a whole. My god, I need a cold shower. To summarize my thoughts on Chapter 2, it's an incredibly flawed chapter that has potential to be amazing. The gameplay it goes for is tedious and it makes replay playthroughs a slog to get through, and even then I still don't think it's fun on the first playthrough, and the good sections it does have are short-lived. There is a lot of improvement from Chapter 1, the environments and horror in certain sections are stronger, there is a lot that evolved from Chapter 1 with the voice acting and better animation and music, and there is a lot of quality and care put into this game, but it's a little too late when the core of it is just fundamentally flawed. Fetch quests are not a good way to incorporate gameplay in a backroom game. It only gets worse on repeat playthroughs. While the story is nice, it isn't developed enough, feels a little inconclusive, and doesn't explain some things that really should be explained. Overall, I would give Chapter 2 a 3 out of 10. That's probably higher than you expected. Despite its major flaws, it still has quite a bit of quality and some damn solid sections. The overall package just weighs it down a ton. Good fucking grief, this Chapter 2 segment's gonna be long, I can just tell. Alright, we have talked about every inch of this game. Let's conclude this monster of a video, and I'll also give my ideas on future improvements for this game in future chapters. Let's wrap this up. My thoughts on this game as a whole are very mixed. I think that Chapter 1 was a good start for the game. It had some effective sections with some amazing visuals and horror. The issue was that some of the areas felt underbaked. Chapter 2 mostly fixed that and expanded its production with voice acting, cutscenes, and many other things. But it made the mistake of trying to do too much on the gameplay front. Part of what made Chapter 1 so good was that it stuck to its formula and never drifted away from that. And it seems that Chapter 2 wanted to be more on a gameplay front. I'm not against having gameplay in these games, I just think that it's not implemented to its fullest potential. With what we have now, I would give the Backrooms Lost tape a 5 out of 10 as a whole. Chapter 1 is simple in quality, delivering on the liminal space vibe that the Backrooms bring. Chapter 2 tries to do too much, and that liminal horror suffers because of that, among many other things, even if it does have its strengths. I do not hate this game, and I want to see improvement from the developer, Vinny Cortez, in the future. So, here is my advice. I think if a Chapter 3 ever were to come out, it should be handled differently than how Chapter 2 was handled. I would say do a mix of Chapter 1 and 2. Keep some of that walking simulator or horror that Chapter 1 did so well, but make those sections count. Don't just waste them and spend only 3 minutes in there. And you can even mix in some gameplay elements from Chapter 2. But if you're going to do puzzles, do them differently. Do away with the fetch quests, go for a different style of puzzle, maybe an escape room puzzle, an enclosed room with one big puzzle to solve, or have a medium space and do a one-shot style of puzzle, where you find different items and craft them to get to a certain area. All of these fit with the Backrooms, they would work so much better than what is in the game right now. If you intersect those kinds of puzzle areas with the classic walking simulator style of horror, and maybe even throw in some chase sequences, then you have a really good mix. And a certain other game, Dream Logic, did exactly this. Everything in that game just feels so varied and it constantly switches between walking simulator and puzzle, among, well, other things. Go check it out, it's pretty damn good. I will not spoil. But anyways, the main point that I am making is that the future of this game is dependent on its direction. If it continues with the direction that Chapter 2 went, then I'll be a little disappointed. But as of writing this, the developer hasn't been too active. It seems to be working on other stuff in games, which kind of worries me about the future of this game, because I don't want the developer to abandon it. The puzzle pieces are there, he just needs to arrange them well. We haven't heard any news on Chapter 3 in about a year and a half. That is a little concerning. I hope that if it ever continues, that it learns from the mistakes that Chapter 2 made, and that the game can be the best it can be, because the potential is clearly there. And now, that's about everything. We've talked about all we can talk about. I will see you all next time, and then maybe we'll have an actual analysis room next time as well. It would be a big investment, however. Into the depths I go, just like Nicholas. Oh my god, I can't believe this video is actually done, finally. This was a project that I had the undertaking of doing in October when I wrote the script for it, and I'm only now finishing it at the end of January. Holy shit. Yeah, this video was a ton of work, even more so than my Freddy's Reanimated video. I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. It was a lot of work. But if you're here now, then that means that you watched the whole way through. Thank you for watching the whole way through. It makes me feel a little more validated for putting this much work into the video. I would like to give a shout out to the creators on screen that I used footage from. Go check out their stuff. And hell, go play the game for yourself. Go play Backrooms Lost Tape. Maybe you'll enjoy it more than I did. And go check out Vinny Cortez's stuff. He has a new game coming out. It's called Space Delivery. Like a multiplayer game. Looks kind of cool. So yeah, that's about all. So, until then, I've been Vortex, and I will see you guys next time we're here. Goodbye.